Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship and looked at the stars ahead. His fleet was small. Only 12 ships flew through space toward their destination. Some people might call it tiny compared to other fleets in the galaxy. Did not mind. He knew his ships were good and his crew was better. "Captain, we are getting close to Kepler Prime," said Lieutenant Ben Rogers from his station. Ben was young but smart. He handled all the talking between ships. The alien ships are already there. Lots of them. Jake nodded. He had expected this. Kepler Prime was the biggest trade station in this part of space. Ships from many different worlds came here to buy and sell things. It was also where humans would meet aliens for the first time as equals. At least that was the plan. "Admiral?" Lisa Carter walked up to Jake. She was his second in command, and one of the best officers he had ever worked with. Lisa had been in space longer than most people had been alive. She looked worried. "Jake, the alien fleets are huge," Lisa said. Quietly, our scouts counted over 3,000 ships around the station. Zephyrians alone have 500 warships. The Nexar have twice that number. And those are just the ones we can see. Jake smiled a little. Scared, Lisa? Not scared. Just thinking. Lisa looked at the star map on the screen. "We have 12 ships. They have thousands. If things go bad, things won't go bad," Jake said. But he understood her worry. Their mission was to make friends with alien races. To show that humans wanted peace and trade. But aliens might not see it that way. They might see 12 small ships and think humans were weak. The main screen showed Kepler Prime getting bigger. The station was massive. It looked like a city. Floating in space, thousands of lights twinkled on its surface. Ships moved around it like insects around a bright lamp. Big ships, small ships, strange ships that did not look like anything humans had ever built. "Look at that," whispered Danny Walsh, the chief engineer. Danny was the kind of man who could fix anything with tools and smart thinking. Stared at the alien ships with wide eyes. "Some of those ships are bigger than our whole fleet put together." Ben Rogers put his hand to his ear, listening to his headset. "Captain, I'm picking up alien radio signals. They're talking about us." "What are they saying?" Jake asked. Ben looked uncomfortable. "Well, sir, they're not being very nice. Zephyrians are calling us tiny metal bugs. The Nexari think our ships look old and broken. And the VORT, Hans, well, they're not even bothering to talk about us at all." Jake felt his jaw tighten. He had expected some of this. Humans were new to galactic politics. Earth had only been sending ships to other stars for 50 years. These alien races had been flying through space for thousands of years, maybe millions. Of course, they would look down on the newcomers. "Sir," said Lieutenant Sarah Kim from the weapons station. Sarah was quiet most of the time, but she never missed anything important. "I'm reading energy signatures from the alien fleets. Their weapons are active. It's not aimed at us, but ready to fire." Lisa stepped closer to Jake. "Maybe we should call Earth. Ask for more ships." "No," Jake said firmly. "We came here to do a job. We'll do it with what we have." The communication system made a sound. Ben Rogers pressed some buttons and looked up. "Captain, we're getting a message from Kepler Prime. They want to know who we are and what we want. Tell them we are the Earth." "Exploration fleet," Jake said. "We come in peace to meet our galactic neighbors and discuss trade." Ben sent the message. A few minutes later, he got an answer. "They're giving us permission to dock, but... Ben paused. "But what?" "They're putting us in the small ship area, where cargo haulers and repair ships go. Not where the big diplomatic ships park." Danny Walsh made an angry sound. "That's not right. We should be treated like equals." "Easy, Danny," Jake said. "Let them think what they want to think, for now." As their fleet moved toward the station, Jake watched the alien ships. The Zephyrian vessels looked like weapons with engines attached, all sharp edges and gun barrels. The Nexar ships were smooth and white, like giant eggs floating in space. The Vorthan ships barely looked solid at all. They seemed to be made of light and energy. "Captain," Lisa said quietly, "are you sure about this? Once we dock, we'll be surrounded by alien ships. They decide they don't like us. Jake looked at his crew. Ben Rogers, young and eager. Sarah Kim, steady and reliable. Danny Walsh, loyal and hardworking. Lisa Carter, wise and experienced. These people trusted him to make the right choices. Listen, all of you, Jake said. I know we look small compared to those alien fleets. I know they think we're weak. But there are things about us they don't understand yet. Things about our ships and our people that they can't see. He walked to the front of the bridge and looked out at the alien armada. Let them underestimate us. Let them think we're just a tiny fleet with old ships. When the time comes, they'll learn the truth about humans. They'll learn that we're not as helpless as we look. The UES Defiant, Jake's flagship, moved toward Kepler Prime. Behind it came 11 other ships. Compared to the thousands of alien vessels around the station, they looked like minnows swimming with whales. But Jake Morrison was not worried. He had secrets. His ships had secrets. And soon, the galaxy would discover that humans were full of surprises. The first meeting between humans and the galactic community was about to begin. Jake just hoped it would end better than it started. Ambassador Kate Sullivan walked through the halls of Kepler Prime and tried not to show her anger. The aliens had given her and her team the worst meeting rooms on the station. Small, dark places near the garbage disposal units. The smell was terrible, and the lights kept flickering. This is an insult, whispered Dr. Amy Peterson, walking beside Kate. Amy was the smartest person Kate had ever met. She understood science and technology better than most computers. They're treating us like we don't matter. Kate nodded, but kept walking. 3 alien representatives waited for them in the meeting room. She had studied these species for months, but seeing them in person was different. Scary, even. Commander Vextar of the Zephyrian Empire looked like a giant lizard that walked on 2 legs. His skin was dark green and covered in scales. Sharp teeth filled his mouth, and his yellow eyes never blinked. He was bigger than any human Kate had ever seen. When he moved, she could hear his claws clicking on the metal floor. The Nexari representative was called Overlord Crystallis. It looked like a walking diamond. Light seemed to come from inside its body, making rainbow colors dance on the walls. When it spoke, its voice sounded like music mixed with the sound of breaking glass. Elder Luminos from the Vorthon Confederacy was harder to look at. Its body seemed to be made of pure energy. Sometimes it looked solid, sometimes it looked like colored smoke. Kate could feel heat coming from it, even from across the room. So, said Commander Vextar, his voice like rocks grinding together. These are the famous humans we have heard about. He looked at Kate like she was something he might eat for dinner. You are smaller than I expected. We come in peace, Kate said, using the words she had practiced 1,000 times. Earth wishes to join the galactic community as friends and trading partners. Overlord Crystallis made a sound like wind chimes in a storm. Kate's translator device told her this was laughter. Friends? Little mammals think they can be friends with civilized species? Elder Luminos said nothing, but Kate could feel its attention like heat from a fire. The energy being was studying her, trying to understand what humans were. Your ships are very primitive, said Vextar. He pulled up a holographic image showing the human fleet. Chemical rockets, metal hulls, simple energy weapons. Stopped using such things 1,000,000 years ago. Kate bit her tongue. She wanted to tell these aliens exactly what she thought of them, but starting a war would not help anyone. Our technology may be different, but it works for us. Different? Crystallis made more wind chime sounds. Your largest ship is smaller than our scout vessels. Your entire fleet could fit inside one of our cargo holds. Meanwhile, back on the human ships, Chief Engineer Danny Walsh was working with his repair teams. The aliens had been watching them through telescopes and scanners. Danny could see alien ships pointing sensors at the human fleet. Let them look, Danny told his workers. Make sure they see everything we want them to see. The repair work looked normal to alien eyes. Humans in spacesuits, welding metal plates, humans checking engines and computers, humans doing the kinds of jobs that most alien species had given. 2 robots millions of years ago. What the aliens could not see was the real work happening inside the ships. Deep in the engine rooms, behind locked doors, other humans were working on very different machines. Machines that did not look like anything aliens had ever built. Lieutenant Mary Thompson checked the readings on her secret console. All systems. "Our green chief," she reported to Danny through a private radio channel. "The main cores are ready. Adaptive systems are ready. Everything is ready." Danny nodded. "Good. Keep them sleeping for now. But make sure they can wake up fast if we need them." Dr. Amy Peterson had left the terrible meeting with the aliens and returned to her ship. Her job was to study alien technology without letting the aliens know she was doing it. It was harder than it sounded. She pointed her scanners at the nearest Zephyrian warship. The data that came back made her smile. "Interesting," she said to herself. The alien ship was big and looked dangerous. Its weapons could probably destroy a city. Its armor was thick enough to stop almost any attack. But Amy could see problems that the aliens did not know about. The Zephyrian ship was old, very old. Its design had not changed in thousands of years. The aliens had built the same type of ship over and over again, making small improvements, but never trying anything really new. "They've gotten lazy," Amy told her assistant, Lieutenant Steve Johnson. Steve was young but learned fast. "Look at this power system. It's exactly the same as ships they built 10,000 years ago, just bigger." Steve looked at the data on Amy's screen. "What does that mean for us?" "It means they think they know everything. They stopped trying to improve because they thought they were already perfect." Amy switched her scanners to look at a Nexari ship. "Let's see if they're all the same." The Nexar ship was different from the Zephyrian vessel, but Amy found the same problem. It's advanced technology, but old technology. The Nexari had built the same types of ships for so long that they had forgotten how to build anything new. "Fascinating," Amy said. "These aliens have had space travel for millions of years, but they've barely improved their ships in the last 100,000 years. Why not?" Steve asked. "Because they didn't need to. They were the strongest species in the galaxy. No one could challenge them, so they got comfortable. They stopped innovating." Amy smiled as she realized what this meant. In space for 50 years, but they had never stopped trying new things. Every human ship was different from the last one. Every human invention built on the previous one, making it better and better. Back in the meeting room, the aliens were still insulting humanity. Commander Vexstar was explaining how easy it would be to destroy the entire human fleet. "We could eliminate your ships without even trying," the Zephyrian said. "Our smallest weapons could cut through your hulls like paper." "That would be unfortunate," Kate said calmly. "Earth would not be happy to lose its diplomatic mission." Earth. Crystallis made more glass-breaking sounds. "What could one small planet do to us?" "We control thousands of worlds," Elder Luminos finally spoke. Its voice sounded like the wind through a forest fire. "The humans are young. They may learn wisdom if they survive long enough." Kate felt her temper rising. These aliens thought humans were nothing more than smart animals. They saw 12 small ships and assumed that was all humanity had to offer. If only they knew the truth. If only they understood what those 12 ships really carried. But Kate could not tell them. Not yet. The secret had to stay hidden until the right moment. "We hope to learn much from our galactic neighbors," Kate said, forcing herself to sound respectful. "Perhaps we can find ways to help each other." Commander Vexstar stood up. His massive form blocked out the light. "It can help by staying out of our way, little mammal. This galaxy belongs to the strong. The weak serve or die." The meeting ended badly. Kate and her team returned to their ships feeling angry and worried. The aliens saw humans as nothing more than potential slaves or food. But Captain Jake Morrison was not discouraged when Kate reported what had happened. He listened to her story and nodded. "Let them think what they want," Jake said. "Every human ship is exactly where it needs to be. Every system is ready. If these aliens want to test us, they'll get more than they bargained for." Deep in the engine room of the UES Defiant, machines that had slept for months began to stir. Not enough for alien sensors to notice, but enough to be ready. The humans were about to show the galaxy that appearances could be very deceiving. The trouble started when Commander Vexstar sent a message to the human fleet. Captain Jake Morrison read it twice to make sure he understood correctly. Then he called his senior officers to the bridge. "Listen to this," Jake said, and read the message out loud. "It's the primitive mammals calling themselves humans. You have entered civilized space without permission. You will pay tribute to the Zephyrian Empire, or face the consequences. You have 1 hour to comply." Lieutenant Ben Rogers shook his head. "Tribute? What kind of tribute?" "Half our cargo," Admiral Lisa Carter said, reading over Jake's shoulder. "Half our fuel. And 10% of our crew to serve as slaves." Chief Engineer Danny Walsh made an angry noise. "They want us to give them our people." Jake crumpled up the message. "That's not going to happen." Dr. Amy Peterson looked up from her scanner station. "Captain, I'm reading massive energy spikes. From the Zephyrian fleet, they're powering up their weapons." Through the bridge windows, they could see the alien ships moving. The Zephyrian warships formed a circle around the human fleet. Big, ugly vessels with gun barrels pointing at the 12 human ships. Other alien fleets moved away from the area, not wanting to get caught in the fighting. "How many ships?" asked. 347 Zephyrian warships, Lieutenant Sarah Kim reported from the weapons station. "Plus support vessels. Maybe 400 ships total." Lisa whistled softly. 33-1 odds? That's not good. Ben Rogers put his hand to his earpiece. "Captain, I'm picking up communications from other alien fleets. They're taking bets." "Bets on what? On how long we'll last?" "Most think we'll surrender in the first few minutes. Some think we'll try to fight and get destroyed in under an hour." Jake felt his anger growing. These aliens saw humans as entertainment. They thought watching 12 ships get blown apart would be fun. "Sir," Sarah Kim said quietly, "what are your orders?" Jake looked around his bridge. These people had followed him across the galaxy. They trusted him to make the right choice. Could surrender and maybe save their lives. That would mean giving up human dignity. It would mean telling the galaxy that humans were cowards who could be bullied. "Send a message to Commander Vexstar," Jake said. "Tell him that humans do not pay tribute to anyone. Tell him we came here in peace, but we will defend ourselves if attacked." Ben Rogers typed the message and sent it. A few minutes later, Vexstar's reply came back. It was just one word: die. The Zephyrian fleet opened fire. Plasma bolts and energy beams lit up space around the human ships. The first wave of attacks hit the UES Ranger, one of Jake's smaller vessels. Ship's shields flickered and sparked under the assault. "Ranger is taking heavy damage," Sarah Kim reported. "They're losing power." More attacks followed. The UES Explorer was hit by 3 plasma cannons at once. Explosions bloomed along its hull. The U's Horizon tried to dodge a missile barrage but got hit anyway. Fire and debris poured from its damaged sections. On the alien observation ships, crews cheered and celebrated. The humans were dying just as expected. Weak ships with weak weapons against the mighty Zephyrian Empire. But Dr. Amy Peterson was smiling as she watched her instruments. "Captain," she said quietly, "all ships are reporting successful implementation of Defensive Protocol 7? Jake nodded. The damage to human ships was not real. The explosions and fires were created by holographic projectors. The debris was fake, made by small machines that could create the appearance of destroyed metal and equipment. 2 alien sensors. It looked like the human fleet was falling apart. The truth was very different. "All ships, this is Captain Morrison," Jake said into his communications system. "The aliens have made their choice. We tried diplomacy. We tried peace. Now we show them what humans are really made of." Deep inside every human ship, machines that had been sleeping for months suddenly woke up. Power levels that had been hidden from alien scanners began to rise. Weapons that looked broken began to repair themselves. Commander Vexstar watched the human ships burning and felt satisfied. "Pathetic creatures," he said to his crew. "Their primitive technology cannot even protect them for 5 minutes." But his weapons officer looked confused. "Commander, something is wrong. The human ships should be destroyed by now, but they're still moving." Vexstar looked at his screens more carefully. The human ships did look badly damaged, but they were not dying as fast as they should. Fire again. Use the heavy plasma cannons. The second wave of attacks was even stronger than the first. Energy beams powerful enough to destroy asteroids hit the human fleet. But instead of breaking apart, something strange began to happen. The damage on the human ships started to disappear. Holes in their hulls sealed themselves. Broken sections grew back like healing wounds. Fires went out and the debris stopped. Floating away? What is this? Vexter roared. What kind of technology is this? Lieutenant Sarah Kim looked at Captain Morrison. Sir, all ships report ready for full combat operations. Jake stood up from his captain's chair. For months, he had been polite to aliens who treated him like dirt. He had smiled when they insulted his people and his ships. He had tried to be diplomatic when they threatened him, but diplomacy time was over. All human vessels, Jake said in two. His communicator, you are authorized to use full defensive measures. Show these aliens what happens when they threaten Earth. The transformation was incredible to watch. The human ships that had looked weak and primitive moments before suddenly changed, their hulls shifted and reconfigured, revealing weapon ports that had been hidden. New armor plating emerged from inside the ships, making them look bigger and more dangerous. The USS Defiant extended additional sections from its main body. Turrets rose from hidden compartments. Launch bays opened, revealing fighters that did not look like anything aliens had ever seen. Possible, whispered Overlord Crystallis from her observation ship. How are they doing this? Elder Luminos said nothing, but its energy form flickered with what might have been surprise. The human ships began to move in ways that defied alien understanding of physics. They slipped sideways through space, appearing in one place, and instantly appearing somewhere else. Zephyrian weapons fired at empty space, where human ships had been just seconds before. Dr. Amy Peterson activated her most secret systems. Temporal displacement fields are online, she reported. All ships can now operate in sliding dimensions. Jake smiled grimly. The aliens thought they knew everything about space travel and combat. They were about to learn how wrong they were. And scared think all. Ships, pick your targets, Jake ordered. Let's teach these bullies a lesson they'll never forget. The human counterattack was about to begin. 12 ships against 400, but the odds were not what they seemed. The first human weapon to fire was unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. It came from the UES Defiant and looked like a beam of pure white light. When it hit the Zephyrian flagship, the massive warship simply stopped existing. One moment, it was there. The next moment, there was empty space. Commander Vextar's second ship tried to dodge, but the human vessel appeared right beside it. The UES Ranger, which had looked badly damaged just minutes before, fired a weapon that seemed to bend space itself. The Zephyrian ship folded in half and exploded. How is this possible? Vextar screamed at his crew. Our sensors show nothing. Our weapons don't register on our instruments. The truth was that human weapons worked on principles that alien science did not understand. While the aliens had spent millions of years improving the same old technology, humans had discovered entirely new ways to fight. Lieutenant Sarah Kim targeted another Zephyrian ship. Her weapon was called a quantum disruptor. It attacked the tiny particles that held matter together. When she fired, the enemy ship simply fell apart like a puzzle with missing pieces. Target destroyed, Sarah reported calmly. Moving to next. Target. Chief Engineer Danny Walsh coordinated the fleet's defensive systems from his engineering station. When Zephyrian plasma beams hit human ships, the energy was absorbed and used to power human weapons. The more the aliens attacked, the stronger the humans became. This is beautiful, Danny said to his team. Their weapons are actually making us more powerful. The UES Explorer demonstrated another human advantage. It split into 3 separate ships, each one firing different weapons. The Zephyrians tried to shoot at all 3, but they kept changing position. One ship would disappear, just as another appeared behind the alien fleet. Dr. Amy Peterson watched the battle from her science station and took notes. This was the first time human military technology had been tested against alien forces. So far, the results were better than anyone had hoped. Captain Amy said, "Our adaptive armor is working perfectly. The Zephyrian weapons can't penetrate it. In fact, our armor is learning from each attack and getting stronger. Jake Morrison stood on his bridge and watched 12 human ships destroy an alien fleet 25 times their size. The Zephyrians had thought they were hunters attacking helpless prey. Instead, they had woken up something they did not understand. U.S. Horizon. What's your status? Jake asked. Commander Steve Johnson's voice came back over the radio. We're having too much fun, Captain. Just destroyed 3 enemy ships with one shot. Their formation is breaking apart. The Zephyrian fleet was indeed falling apart. Ships that had been in perfect military formation were now scattered across space, trying to run away from weapons they could not see or understand. But the human ships were faster. Lieutenant Mary Thompson piloted the UES Starlight through a group of fleeing alien vessels. Her ship moved like a dancer, appearing and disappearing around the enemy. Each time she fired, another Zephyrian ship exploded. This is too easy, Mary said over the communication system. Don't these aliens know how to fight? The answer was no, they did not. The Zephyrians had spent so long being the strongest species in the galaxy that they had forgotten what real combat was like. They had bullied weaker species for thousands of years, but they had never faced an enemy that could fight back. Commander Vextar's ship was one of the last still working. He tried to escape, but a human vessel appeared directly in front of him. The EU's Defiant looked different now, bigger and more dangerous than when it first arrived at Kepler Prime. Surrender, came Captain Morrison's voice over the radio. Your fleet is destroyed. You have lost. Vextar looked at his instruments. Of the 400 ships he had brought to fight the humans, only 12 were still working. Everything else was destroyed or drifting powerless through space. The battle had lasted less than 3 hours. How? Vextar asked. How did you do this? Jake Morrison's face appeared on Vextar's main screen. The human captain looked calm and confident. Made a mistake, Commander. You thought you knew what humans were capable of. You were wrong. On the observation ships, alien representatives watched in shocked silence. The Nexari overlord Crystallis flickered with nervous energy. Elder Luminos burned brighter as its mind tried to process what it had seen. Impossible, Crystallis whispered. Why? 12 ships cannot destroy 400. This violates every law of space combat. But the evidence was floating all around them. Burning Zephyrian ships drifted through space like broken toys. The human fleet moved through the wreckage, their ships undamaged and their weapons still. Ready to fire, Ambassador Kate Sullivan watched the battle from her diplomatic ship and felt proud of her people. The aliens had treated humans like primitive animals. They had demanded tribute and threatened slavery. Now they knew better. Ben, Kate said to Lieutenant Ben Rogers, send a message to all the alien fleets. Tell them that Earth wishes to discuss proper diplomatic relations as equals. Ben smiled as he sent the message. Within minutes, replies started coming back. Every alien species in the area wanted to talk to the humans. The Nexari offered trade agreements. The Vorthons requested scientific exchanges. Even species that had not spoken to humans before were sending messages of friendship. Dr. Amy Peterson studied the readings from the battle and made more notes. The human ships had performed even better than expected. Their weapons had adapted. 2 alien defenses automatically. Their armor had learned from every attack. Their movement systems had confused alien sensors completely. This is just the beginning, Amy said to herself. Wait until they see what Earth's real military can do. Chief Engineer Danny Walsh checked the power levels on all human ships. Despite fighting for 3 hours against overwhelming odds, the human vessels were actually stronger than when the battle started. The alien attacks had charged their power systems and improved their defensive capabilities. All ships report full operational status, Danny announced. Weapons charged, shields at maximum, engines running perfectly. We're ready for anything. Jake Morrison looked at the destroyed Zephyrian fleet and felt no joy in the victory. He had wanted to make friends with alien species, not enemies. The Zephyrians had forced this fight by threatening his people. This is Captain Morrison to all human vessels, Jake said. Well done, everyone. You've shown the galaxy that humans are not easy prey. The battle was over, but its effects would last forever. Word of the human victory would spread across the galaxy at the speed of light. Every alien species would learn that the small fleet from Earth was not what it seemed. Some aliens would fear humans after this day. Others would respect them. But none would ever again make the mistake of thinking that humans were weak. The tiny fleet had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same. 3 days after the battle, Kepler Prime looked very different. Where once hundreds of alien ships had surrounded the human fleet with threats and insults, now they kept a respectful distance. The 12 human vessels sat in the center of the station's diplomatic zone. No longer hidden away with the cargo haulers, Captain Jake Morrison stood in the main conference hall of Kepler Prime. This time, the aliens had given humans the best meeting room on the station. The walls were made of crystal that showed the stars outside. The furniture was comfortable and expensive. Fresh flowers from a dozen different worlds filled the air with pleasant smells. Ambassador Kate Sullivan sat at the head of a large table, with alien representatives arranged around her, but everything was different now. The aliens who had treated humans like dirt 3 days ago now spoke politely and offered gifts. The Nixari Collective wishes to apologize for our earlier rudeness, said Overlord Crystallis. The crystal being's voice was much softer than before. We did not understand the true nature of human civilization. Elder Luminos flickered with respectful colors. The Vorthan Confederacy offers friendship and knowledge exchange. We have much to learn from each other. Even Commander Vexstar, whose fleet had been destroyed, sat at the table. Ship had been damaged but not destroyed, and Jake had allowed him to keep it. The proud Zephyrian warrior looked very different now. His scales were dull, and his eyes no longer blazed with arrogance. The Zephyrian Empire acknowledges its error, Vexstar said quietly. We mistook human restraint for weakness. This was foolish. Kate nodded graciously. Earth accepts your apologies. We came here seeking friendship, and we still want that. The battle was regrettable, but perhaps necessary to establish proper relations. Dr. Amy Peterson sat beside Kate, taking notes on everything the aliens said. Amy had become the most popular human on the station. Every alien species wanted to talk to her about human science and technology. She was polite, but gave away no secrets. The question now, said Crystallis, is what role humanity will take in galactic affairs. Your military capabilities are impressive. Jake Morrison stepped forward. That's something I should address. The aliens turned to look at him, and Jake had changed his uniform for this meeting. Instead of the simple work clothes he had worn before, he now wore the formal dress. Uniform of Earth's Deep Space Command. The gold and silver decorations on his chest told the story of humanity's reach among the stars. The 12 ships you see here, Jake said, are an exploration fleet. They are not warships. Oh, they are not our main military force. They are diplomats. And scientists who happen to have some defensive capabilities. The aliens looked confused. Overlord Crystallis spoke first. If these are not warships, then what are your warships like? Jake smiled. That's classified. But I can tell you that Earth has been preparing for contact with alien civilizations for 50 years. We hoped for friendship, but we planned for every possibility. Elder Luminos burned brighter. You mean there are more human ships? Ships designed specifically for war? Earth has many ships, Jake said carefully. Some explore. Some carry cargo. Some protect our colonies. And some? Well, some have capabilities that make this fleet look primitive. The statement sent a chill through the room. If 12 exploration ships could destroy 400 Zephyrian warships, what could real human military vessels do? Lieutenant Ben Rogers had been monitoring communications from across the galaxy. Reports of the battle were spreading faster than light through alien communication networks. The news was causing panic on some worlds and celebration on others. Captain Ben said quietly, I'm getting messages from alien governments everywhere. Trade offers, defense treaties, requests for meetings. It seems like everyone wants to be friends with humans now. Jake was not surprised. The galaxy ran on power, and humans had just demonstrated that they had plenty of it. Alien species that had ignored Earth's existence now saw humans as potential allies or threats. Chief Engineer. Danny Walsh entered the conference room and approached Jake. "Sir, we're getting some interesting visits. 3 alien science teams want to examine our ships. They're offering rare metals and advanced technology in exchange for a look at our engines." Jake shook his head. "Tell them no, politely." "What?" "If they offer more, still no. Human technology stays human." Dr. Amy Peterson agreed. During her study of alien ships, she had learned that most alien species shared their technology freely. It was one reason why their advancement had slowed down. When everyone had the same tools, no one had an advantage. Humans were different. Each human colony developed its own solutions to problems. Each human ship was unique. Competition between human groups pushed technology forward faster than alien cooperation ever could. "The Galactic Council has sent a message," announced Lieutenant Sarah Kim, entering the room with a datapad. "They want to meet with human representatives immediately. They're offering Earth a permanent seat on the Council." This was the moment Jake had hoped for. The Galactic Council controlled trade, law, and diplomacy for thousands of species. Getting Earth a seat at that table had been the main goal of this mission. "What are the terms?" Kate asked. Sarah read from her pad. "Full membership, with voting rights equal to the founding species. Trade privileges throughout Council space. Protection under galactic law. And they want to establish a permanent human embassy on the Council homeworld." Kate felt a thrill of victory. This was everything Earth had hoped for and more. "What about the restrictions?" "None mentioned," Sarah said. "It seems they're more interested in keeping us happy than controlling us." Ambassador Kate Sullivan looked around the room at the alien representatives. 3 days ago, these same beings had treated humans like primitive animals. Now they were offering everything Earth wanted. "We accept the Council's offer," Kate said. "Formally, Earth looks forward to participating in galactic civilization." The aliens around the table relaxed visibly. Having humans as friends was much better than having them as enemies. Commander Vexstar spoke up. "What will happen to the Zephyrian ships that were destroyed?" Jake Morrison considered the question. "Earth will help rebuild your fleet. Consider it a gesture of friendship." Vexter's eyes widened with surprise. "You would help us after we attacked you?" "Made a mistake," Jake said. "Everyone makes mistakes. What matters is learning from them." Dr. Amy Peterson stood and addressed the group. "I've been studying alien technology for the past 3 days. You've accomplished amazing things over millions of years. Humans have much to learn from you." "And we from you," said Overlord Crystallis. "Your adaptive technology is far beyond anything we have developed." Amy smiled. "Perhaps we can share knowledge." Some knowledge. Over the following weeks, the human fleet remained at Kepler Prime while diplomats worked out the details of Earth's entry into galactic civilization. Trade agreements were signed. Scientific exchanges were planned. Cultural ambassadors were chosen. But the most important change was in how aliens viewed humans. Before the battle, humans had been curiosities. Primitive mammals from a small world that had somehow learned to travel between stars. After the battle, humans were respected members of the galactic community. Lieutenant Ben Rogers monitored communications throughout this period and noticed something interesting. Alien military forces across the galaxy were suddenly very interested in upgrading their weapons and defenses. Demonstration of human capabilities had started an arms race. Captain Ben reported to Jake, "It looks like our little show has made everyone nervous. The Hegemony Empire just ordered 3,000 new warships. The Crystal Republics are doubling their defense spending." Jake was not worried. If alien species wanted to waste resources on outdated weapons, that was their choice. Human technology would continue to advance while theirs stayed the same. Chief Engineer Danny Walsh had a different concern. "Sir, some of our people are getting too confident. They think we can beat anyone now." "What do you mean?" Jake asked. Lieutenant Thompson suggested we should demand tribute from the Nexari. "Lieutenant Johnson thinks we should take over some alien colonies. They're starting to act like bullies." Jake frowned. This was exactly what he had hoped to avoid. Power could corrupt humans just as easily as it had corrupted the Zephyrians. Call a meeting of all senior staff, Jake ordered. It's time to remind you. Everyone why we're here? That evening, Jake addressed his crew over the ship's communication system. I know some of you are feeling proud of what we accomplished. You should be. We defended ourselves and earned respect for humanity. He paused to let that sink in. But remember why we came here. We came to make friends, not enemies. We came to learn, not to conquer. We have great power, but power means responsibility. The words had their effect. The talk of demanding tribute and taking colonies stopped. Human crews focused on their real jobs: exploration, diplomacy, and learning. Dr. Amy Peterson completed her analysis of the battle and sent her report to Earth. The 12 ships of the exploration fleet had performed better than anyone had dared hope. Their weapons had proven superior to anything aliens possessed. Their defenses had been impenetrable. Their mobility had been unmatched. But Amy's report also included warnings. Aliens were now afraid of humans, which could lead to problems. Some species might try to attack Earth before humans became too powerful. Others might try to steal human technology through espionage or betrayal. We've opened a door, Amy wrote in her conclusion. What comes through that door depends on how wisely we use the next few years. Captain Jake Morrison's final log entry from Kepler Prime summarized the mission's success. Contact with alien civilizations. Successful. Earth's admission to the Galactic Council achieved. Respect for human capabilities established. 400 Zephyrian ships and the galaxy's illusions about human weakness. As the human fleet prepared to leave Kepler Prime, Jake reflected on what they had accomplished. They had come to the stars as explorers and ended up as warriors. They had sought friendship and found respect through strength. The 12 ships that had seemed so small when they arrived now looked different to alien eyes. They were no longer seen as primitive vessels from a backward world. They were symbols of a new power rising in the galaxy. Ambassador Kate Sullivan stood on the observation deck of the UES, defiant, and watched alien ships gathering to escort the human fleet home. Representatives from dozens of species wanted to visit Earth. Trade convoys were already being organized. Cultural exchange programs were being planned. "We did it," Kate said to Jake as he joined her at the window. "We really did it." Jake nodded, but his expression was thoughtful. "We did what we came to do, but this is just the beginning. The real work starts now." The human fleet left Kepler Prime with great ceremony. Alien ships formed honor guards around them. Messages of friendship and cooperation flooded the communication channels. The galaxy was welcoming Earth into the community of civilized worlds. But as the stars grew brighter and the human ships accelerated toward home, everyone aboard knew that everything had changed. Humans were no longer the new kids trying to prove themselves. They were a major power in galactic affairs. The tiny fleet had completed its mission. It was time for humanity to decide what to do with the galaxy that had opened up before them. The future was full of possibilities, and humans had proven they were ready for whatever came next.